I want to talk to you guys about working in Japan. I get so many messages, I see so many comments on other people's videos, I've read reviews and all kind of stuff, and people are so curious as to where they should work in Japan. Everyone is so afraid of getting stuck with a bad company or having a bad job, and this just really scares them, and it all makes sense. But I'm gonna try to keep this under 10 minutes, hopefully. And I just want to tell you that you are going to hate your job. You are. No matter where you work, you're not going to like your job. And the reason why you're not going to like your job is because it sucks. It does not matter what company you work for. They are all ultimately the exact same thing. The only way you will like your job is if you like Japan. The reality is, people teach English in Japan because it's the easiest job to get here as a native English speaker that does not speak Japanese at a native level, and it is generally higher paying, even more so than a lot of Japanese companies here. And with that said and done, most of the teachers here have no passion. They're not real teachers. They don't have degrees in teaching. They're not serious about teaching. They're just doing it to live in Japan. So obviously they're not going to like their job here. And aside from not being a professional teacher, beside not having a heart for teaching, the pay in Japan for teaching is even less than that in America. Believe it or not, that's crazy. So if you don't like teaching, you are obviously going to hate being in Japan even more, because now or teaching in Japan, because now there's both a language barrier and you're working a job which you're not good at and you probably hate. Teaching is not something that's for everyone. It's the truth. The real problem with teaching here in Japan is that teachers feel abused. You're being paid nothing, your voices aren't being heard, you're not really expected to have a life outside of your job, but that's all a part of Japanese culture. So if you're coming to Japan because you just want to be a sex tourist or you want to live in la la anime kawaii land, you are going to quickly get burnt out on being here. It's going to happen, and it happens all the time. That's why there's such a high turnover rate. People get tired of it. You get divorced, you realize that your wife is going to stop having sex with you after she has her kids, your husband is cheating on you, you can't find a boyfriend. Whatever the reason is that you came here, whatever superficial reason, if you are not coming to Japan for yourself, you are going to go home. You are going to quit. You are going to hate your job. It's the truth. Naturally, whenever people quit or get fired from whatever job they've worked here in Japan, they are going to leave negative reviews and bash the company and say, oh my god, never work for them, they're horrible, they're bad people, working in Japan sucks, blah blah blah. And it's like, well, yeah, of course, this is a bitter, sorry excuse for an employee teacher. This is not to say that all of these companies are, great or anything, but Japan is not America. Work life here is totally different, and the way that they treat their employees is totally different for two reasons. One, because you're in another country with a different culture, and two, because you are not native to that country. You are a foreigner, and as somebody that is, European or American, this is hard for you to wrap your mind around because you're so used to everything just being simple because you are native to that country. If you're in America, ask people that are Mexican that are working, underpaid jobs under the table where they're not being paid anything. That's what you basically feel like here. And I want to make another video about this, so I'm not going to get too into it, but a lot of people come to Japan because they want a Japanese husband or a boyfriend, or they want a Japanese girlfriend or a wife, or they're trying to run away from their problems. And not to say that you can't do or get all of these things. They're not good reasons to come here. I'm just being real with you. So if you're teaching in Japan for that reason, you are one of these people that are probably going to be a horrible teacher and you're going to quit. And again, it's pretty stupid to base your views of a company if you're going to see everything through the lens of an American. One of the biggest complaints that I see that teachers have here is they complain about having to work on a Saturday or having to stay after work for an hour or, whatever the case is, or having to show up 20 or 30 minutes early. And it's like, your job tells you this before you get hired, and this should really be self-explanatory as a teacher. How can you start teaching right away or on time if you're just getting there, moments before it's supposed to start. If your job has you starting to teach at 9, why do you think it's okay to show up at 8:50 or 8:55? There's no way, as a legitimate good teacher, that you can possibly be prepared and start right away or be ready at 9 o'clock. You can't do it. You need time to prepare. But yet, even although, you're told ahead of time that you're expected to work on Saturdays to, prepare and plan for the month, you're told in advance all of these things. Teachers get so angry and they write all these negative reviews about how bad it is teaching here in Japan and how, much you have to work. And it's like, have you ever taught in your home country before? Or hey, maybe your home country is different, but last time I checked, I remember being a kid in America. My teachers always came to work, at least 30 minutes, if not an hour, before they were expected to start. They would be organizing and getting themselves together, or we were in the cafeterias and, eating breakfast. You are going to get burnt out, like I said. You'll get tired of it. You're going to be super happy and stoked that you're here. Oh my God, Japanese people. Oh my God, I get a boyfriend, I get a girlfriend, fulfill my, yellow fever dreams or whatever. And you're going to love Akiba. It's all going to last for a second. But if you're here in Japan for, other people, you're here to live some type of fantasy world or land, it's going to get old. You're going to get tired and you're going to be angry because you're not going to have time to do all of these things. You're going to be too busy working. And when you're not working, you're going to be too tired and wanting to relax that you're not even going to get to enjoy all of these things like how you plan to. So what happens? These teachers get upset because they can't do what they want to do when they want to do it. And they're also going to start feeling underpaid, even although your job told you what your salary was way in advance. But now you're going to be like, oh, just $15 an hour. I deserve 30. You're never going to be satisfied. So to make this long story short, every company is bad, like I said. It's a business. Teaching English is not like being a regular public school teacher. It's a business. They just want money. Their goal is to pay you as little as possible, to use you in as many schools as possible, or to cover as many lessons as possible while making maximum profit, while paying you the same. That's just life. It's the way that it works. And if you're not okay with that, you're not going to like teaching here. You're going to think you're okay with your salary. You're going to think you're okay with living in Tokyo. And it's all going to get old. You are going to get tired of, your day-to-day commute. You're going to get tired of your crying, crazy, screaming students and students that won't speak and your boss that doesn't listen to your advice or opinions and not having your Saturdays to yourself and having to spend Christmas Eve or, Christmas Eve weekend, doing Christmas plays and whatnot. You're going to have to wake up and smell the coffee. The last thing I want to say is, we're humans. As humans, you are never going to be happy. You're never going to be satisfied. And you are always going to want more. It doesn't matter where you came from, how little you made in your home country. You're going to want more. It doesn't matter if they tell you what your pay is or where you're going to work or live in advance. You're not going to be happy. It's life. You're going to have to remind yourself why you wanted this, why you wanted to work in Japan, why you wanted to live here. And if you lose that drive, you lose, sight of how it all got started, you are going to go home. You are going to quit. You are going to hate whatever company you work for. It's life. That's just the way that it is. And that's exactly what happens to most of these teachers here. They're only working the job so that they can quickly try to find someone to marry, get a spouse visa. They don't have a degree. They're going to get divorced. They're going to hate their job. They're going to not like teaching because they never went to school for that anyway. And they're going to hate Japan. The good teachers and the people who truly choose to stay here in Japan are the people who don't lose sight of that. If you are coming to Japan to get rich or to have some huge, retirement savings plan or whatever, it's not going to happen. And like I said, for those people, Japan is not for you. But if you're truly working as a teacher because you like teaching or because you love Japan as a country and you're willing to do anything to come live and stay here, then you will love it. You will be so grateful that this has given you the opportunity to live in the country of your dreams. But if that's not you, if you can't relate to that, you don't feel, that way, then I'm sorry, there's a lighting issue. And despite the fact that they do a pretty good job with thoroughly, reading over your contract and asking you all these questions during the interview, people seem to say, whatever it takes to get the job. And just like in America, as soon as they start working, then you find all the faults in it. And it's like, they went over this in your contract. And I'm guilty of this too. I don't love my job every day, but that's life. We're all human. We have things that we like and dislike about our coworkers and about ourselves and about this country. Japan is not a perfect place. And again, like I said, the only way that you are going to truly like your job here is if you truly can do two things, just these two things. One, you have to love Japan first and foremost. If you don't love Japan, there is absolutely no way that you're going to stay here. And two, you have to understand work life and their work culture. If you are not willing to give your all, you're not willing to prepare and come early and to learn, you are going to be miserable here. It's just the truth. So the very last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm ending the video here. I know I went over 10 minutes like I said. I'm sorry, I tried. The very last thing is, you are not trapped here. Do not fall for that. There is so much false information online. If you don't like whatever company that hires you or that you start working at, you can quit. And I don't mean quit and go back home. You can easily quit your job and find another visa sponsor. It's not hard. You have about 3 months. You do not have to go through the visa process all over again. You can use your exact work visa to get another job. So for example, if you start working at Nova and you decide that you hate Nova, the company is horrible, you can easily say, you know what? Screw you, Nova. I'm going to work for, I don't know, GABA or whatever other company that you want. Now you can easily find a job because you already have a visa. So you're not trapped or stuck here. Do not fall for that. That's false information. You can easily switch jobs. Interviewing in Japan is a breeze. All they're going to be like, oh, native speaker? Show me your passport. Have a visa? Hired. That's that. So that's that. I hope that somebody out there finds this helpful. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just letting you guys know that if anyone tells you that, you have to choose the perfect company because you're going to be stuck working for this bad employer, it's false. And also, there's not really much of such a thing as a bad employer here. They're all really the same. They're all in it for money. They don't really care about students learning English. I'm just being real with you guys, having a real talk. They just want money. They want students to stay as long as possible. So the longer they can keep them stupid, for lack of a better word, the better for them. More money, the students will stay longer. There is a high turnover rate even with the students. English, students quit all the time. And so do their teachers. It goes hand in hand. So that's that. I hope this helps you guys out. Again, every company has pros and cons. There's no perfect school, no perfect job. And if you don't like your job, you can easily quit. So that's that. If you have any questions, leave a comment, send me an email, and I hope this helps. Bye.